I did it again. I did exactly what my instructor told me to do. I dug my feet in, I hit down on the ball, I got through the sand, my ball still ended up in the bunker. My name's David Nesbitt. I'm the Director of Instruction here at Boulder Ridge Golf Club in San Jose, California. I'm going to try to help you understand how to play better bunker shots. We're going to talk about the design of the club, why that's so important. We're also going to talk about swing fundamentals and swing technique, and hopefully we won't have these embarrassing shots when we're playing with our buddies next Saturday. Let's get started. Whenever I'm in a sand trap or bunker, one of the first things you want to check for is to make sure that the bunker has soft sand, hard sand, compacted sand, wet sand. Many different conditions will dictate which club you're going to use. In most situations, a high bounce or medium bounce sand wedge is sufficient, especially for a fluffy sand shot like I just showed you. Let me talk a little bit about bounce. Bounce angle, if I hold the club up this way, is basically the angle from the leading edge of the club to the trailing edge of the club. This is your bounce angle right here. This particular sand wedge has 14 degrees of bounce, which is pretty standard for most sand wedges. What the bounce does is it allows the club to dig into the sand and then bounce out of the sand, much like a tail wing of an airplane. Gene Sarazen invented the sand wedge as he noticed when he was taken off on a plane, the tail flap of the plane went down and the plane went up. So he decided to put a flap of metal on the back of his sand wedge, which created this bounce angle, which allowed him to be more successful out of the sand trap. What most amateurs don't understand in the bunker shot is how to create that cushion of sand to push the ball out of the bunker. We're not actually hitting the golf ball here. We're actually hitting 2 to 3 inches behind the ball, but we're hitting it with a steep enough angle and far enough behind the ball to create that cushion to blast the ball out of the sand. And let me take a close-up look of what I'm talking about here. When I approach a sand shot, I want to attack the sand at a steep enough angle to get this club to enter the sand 2 to 3 inches behind the ball, create this sand cushion, and see how that forces the ball out of the bunker. If I can create that cushion, and I know how to create that cushion, this will apply to every bunker shot that we will see today and in the future. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about in relationship to creating a good, successful bunker shot is our setup. And the setup changes with each bunker shot because we're faced with different slopes, uphill lies, downhill lies. We rarely get a perfectly level lie, but in this situation it's pretty level. So we'll go ahead and set up to a level lie, and then we can make adjustments to different bunker shots in the future. First thing I like to do is I like to grip down on the club slightly, give it about an inch, inch and a half choke down here. I also like to open up the club face a little bit. The reason I like to open up the club face for 2 reasons. I like to make sure I get enough loft on this club to get the ball over the lip of the bunker. When I open up the face, that adds loft. It also adds bounce to the bottom of my club. And with this being a kind of a fluffy sand, some soft sand here, I definitely don't want to dig that club in the sand, so I open up the club face for that reason as well. Once I've got my club face open, I grip it, and I want to aim the club face at the target that I'm trying to shoot for. So I'm going to be aiming a little bit left of my intended target with my feet. Once I've got that line, I'll go ahead and dig in. And most amateurs don't dig in. And the reason why I like to dig in is, first of all, it gives me stability with my lower body. I don't want a lot of weight transferring back and forth. This is a shot that requires most of your weight staying on your front side and accelerating through. I also like to dig in because it gets me lower to the ball. My belly button gets an inch or 2 below a standard iron shot, and I need to get down to create that cushion of sand underneath the ball, so I got to keep my body lower. As I'm digging in, I like to angle my right foot towards my target. So instead of having my right foot or my back foot level, I kind of tilt it this way a little bit. What that does is it ensures that my weight stays on my front side. If I can keep my weight on my front side, it also promotes a steeper angle of approach, which is exactly what I need for this shot. Now, ball position is also very important. I like to place the ball position towards the front middle of my stance, so just left of middle. And the way I can figure that out is if I set a stick down on my toe line and I set another stick perpendicular to that toe line, you'll notice that the ball position is just slightly forward of center. If I can do that for every shot in the bunker on these level lies, you're going to notice that you're going to make crisp contact with the sand 2 to 3 inches behind the ball every time. Set up consistently will create consistent bunker shots. Okay, now that we've discussed the cushion of sand and how to create that, we've also talked about the setup and how we can set up properly each time. Then we talked a little bit about some of the differences in your swing from a bunker shot to a normal iron shot. Now, as you can see, remember, I'm pointing my club face over my target line or towards my target, and I'm aiming my body left of the target. What that does is, if I aim left of my target, it allows me to come down and allow a steeper angle of attack on this sand. Remember, in order for us to create that cushion of sand, we have to get down and hit down more abruptly than we would with a normal iron shot. So instead of going like this on my normal shot, you can see this swing, this angle of attack. Now it's going to look more like this, more up and down the line. If I can do that and still keep the club face open through impact and allow the trailing edge of the club to hit the ground before the leading edge, hopefully we can make a good shot. Let's try it out. That works for me. So here I am in the bunker once again. I can tell that I'm in wet or compacted sand. Not only can I tell because of the color of the sand, but also when I dig my feet in, when I address the ball, it's very compacted. So that changes how we proceed with this particular bunker shot. I'm still going to set up the same way as I did before, where I'm going to try to dig my feet in as best as I can. I'm also going to keep the ball position slightly forward in my stance. I'm going to try to angle my back foot towards my target. But instead of opening the club face, I'm actually going to close the club face. The reason I don't want to open the club face when I'm faced with this particular sand condition is that the bounce of the club will actually ricochet off of the wet sand, and then I'll probably end up hitting the equator of the ball, and I won't catch that sand cushion that I'm trying to accomplish here. So if I close the club face and I still swing down aggressively 2 to 3 inches behind the ball, the leading edge of the club will knife through the sand and be able to create that cushion much easier. Now I'm going to take my most lofted club in my bag, in this case it's my 60-degree wedge, and I'm going to try to close it a little bit, which means the ball is going to probably come out a little bit lower and a little bit hotter. Let's see how that works. I close the club face, grip down slightly, weight on my front foot, accelerate through. If I can do that every time, I'll have more success around the greens out of these bunkers. My name is David Nesbitt. I'm the PGA instructor at Boulder Ridge Golf Club. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope this improves your game.